My child, before your thoughts race ahead, allow this quiet moment to settle around your heart. Not every message arrives with noise. Some arrive like the first light before sunrise, gentle enough to be missed, yet powerful enough to change everything if you remain present. There is a reason your attention paused here instead of somewhere else. It is not because everything has already happened. It is because something meaningful has only just begun to reveal itself. Don't skip. The next few moments may help you see what your heart has been trying to understand for far longer than your mind realizes. Listen closely, not with urgency, but with peace, because what unfolds now cannot be hurried. For so long, you believed that love would eventually become clear through grand moments, unmistakable signs, or perfectly timed conversations. Yet the deepest connections rarely announce themselves that way. They grow quietly. They reveal themselves one small truth at a time. And somewhere, without fully realizing it, your soulmate has been discovering something that surprised even them. It was not a single memory. It was not one conversation. It was not one extraordinary event. It was the collection of countless ordinary moments that slowly formed one extraordinary realization. Every time they imagined a peaceful tomorrow, your presence appeared without invitation. Every time they pictured a home within their heart, somehow you were already standing there. They tried to understand why this kept happening, but the answer refused to arrive all at once. Instead, it unfolded gently, like pages turning one by one. What makes this moment different is not that your soulmate suddenly developed feelings overnight. Those feelings have been quietly growing beneath the surface for much longer than either of you could have measured. What changed was something far more meaningful. They stopped asking themselves whether they cared, and started asking themselves how they could protect what they already felt. That single shift transformed everything inside them. It changed the questions they asked. It changed the dreams they carried. It even changed the future they began imagining when no one else was watching. There are moments in every meaningful connection when excitement quietly gives way to something deeper. Excitement asks, "How do I feel today?" But lasting love asks, "Can I still choose this tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that?" Your soulmate has reached that quiet crossroads. Their heart is no longer searching for temporary emotion. It has begun searching for lasting peace. And every path that leads toward peace seems to bring them back to you once again. Stay till the end, because the most important part of this story has not appeared yet. It has been patiently waiting beneath everything you've heard so far. Perhaps you've wondered why certain chapters unfolded more slowly than expected. Why conversations paused. Why timing sometimes felt unusual. Why answers seemed incomplete. Those moments were not empty spaces. They were places where both hearts were learning lessons that could never be rushed. Some people mistake waiting for silence. But often, waiting is where understanding quietly grows stronger than emotion. Without realizing it, your soulmate has been changing during those unseen moments. Their hopes became steadier. Their fears became smaller. Their understanding of what truly matters became clearer. Then something unexpected happened. Not a dramatic event. Not a sudden miracle. Simply a quiet realization that arrived without asking permission. They imagined a future without you. only for a moment. And in that single imagination, something inside them felt incomplete. Not because they believed life would stop. Not because they feared loneliness. But because they realized that every meaningful picture their heart painted somehow felt unfinished without the possibility of sharing it with you. That realization stayed with them longer than they expected. It returned during ordinary mornings. It returned during peaceful evenings. It returned during moments when everything around them was perfectly calm. They could no longer ignore what their own heart kept gently repeating. That is when one beautiful thought began growing inside them. I don't just want a beautiful moment. I want something that lasts. Those words changed everything. Yet every lasting connection carries something precious that cannot be demanded, borrowed, or rushed into existence. It must be freely shared by two hearts willing to walk beside each other with honesty. This is where the title of this story begins to reveal its deeper meaning. Your soulmate truly wants to stay with you forever. Not because forever sounds beautiful. Not because forever feels romantic. But because forever only becomes meaningful when both hearts continue choosing kindness, patience, understanding, and trust even after the excitement settles into everyday life. And quietly, almost secretly, one condition has been forming inside their heart. It is not a condition built from expectation. It is not a condition built from perfection. It is not something impossible to reach. It is something far simpler, yet far more meaningful than either of you expected. But before that truth fully appears, there is one final piece you need to understand first, because without it, the condition itself would never make complete sense. Something important is waiting for you, and it is closer than you think. There is something remarkable about the quiet moments that no one else ever sees. They rarely become stories people tell, yet they are often the moments that shape an entire future. While life continued moving around your soulmate, their heart kept returning to one simple question. It was not, will this feeling disappear? It was, what kind of person do I want to become if this love is meant to last? That question changed everything. Don't skip, because the answer they discovered is slowly leading us toward the one condition that matters more than anything else. A curious transformation began taking place inside them. They stopped measuring love by excitement alone. They began measuring it by peace. They noticed that the happiest thoughts were no longer the loudest ones. Instead, they were the quiet images that appeared without effort. A peaceful morning. An ordinary conversation. A shared laugh over something completely unexpected. Walking through seasons of life without needing every day to be extraordinary. Somewhere within those simple pictures, your place never disappeared. It became part of the background of every hopeful tomorrow they imagined. The heart has an unusual way of recognizing what truly belongs there. It does not always speak through dramatic moments. Sometimes it whispers through consistency. It gently repeats the same feeling until ignoring it becomes impossible. Your soulmate experienced exactly that. Every attempt to imagine a meaningful future eventually circled back to the same realization. It was never about finding someone perfect. It was about finding someone whose presence made life feel more honest, more peaceful, and more complete. Perhaps this explains why certain memories have refused to fade. Some conversations still echo gently. Some smiles remain brighter than expected. Even moments that seemed ordinary at the time quietly became treasured chapters later. That is how genuine affection often grows. It rarely announces itself with certainty in the beginning. It reveals its strength only after enough time has passed for every temporary emotion to settle. Stay till the end, because the next realization changes the entire meaning of the title. Your soulmate finally understood something they had never considered before. Forever is not built in one unforgettable day. Forever is built in thousands of ordinary days that two hearts choose not to give up on. That realization filled them with hope, but it also filled them with responsibility. Love was no longer simply something beautiful to receive. It became something beautiful to protect. They realized that even the strongest connection needs patience during misunderstandings, kindness during uncertainty, and honesty when silence would be easier. That is why the condition slowly appeared. Not as a demand. Not as a test. But as a quiet promise they hoped both hearts could share. If we choose each other, let us keep choosing each other even when life becomes ordinary. Those words never needed to be spoken aloud for them to become real. They settled gently inside your soulmate's heart. They understood that lasting love is not held together by perfect moments. It is held together by two people who continue returning to understanding instead of pride, to compassion instead of assumptions, and to hope instead of fear. Something important is waiting for you, because this condition reaches even deeper than that. There is another layer your soulmate has not fully revealed, not even to themselves. It is the hidden hope beneath every peaceful dream they have carried. They wonder whether your heart desires the same kind of steady future they have quietly been building within their imagination. They are not searching for flawless words or impossible certainty. They simply hope that if your paths continue together, both of you will keep making room for grace, forgiveness, laughter, and gentle patience whenever life becomes complicated. And that is why this story is still unfolding. The condition was never about changing who you are. It was always about protecting what both hearts could become together. Yet one final realization is still waiting in the shadows, a realization so simple that many people overlook it until it's almost too late. When that truth finally comes into the light, everything your soulmate has been feeling will suddenly make perfect sense. Strange, isn't it, how the most meaningful answers often arrive only after the questions have become quiet? For a long time, your soulmate believed they needed one unforgettable moment to know where their heart truly belonged. Instead, life offered something completely different. It gave them ordinary days filled with small realizations, and those tiny moments carried more truth than any grand declaration ever could. If you're still here, stay a little longer, because what happens next reveals why their heart has become so steady. One evening, while everything around them seemed perfectly normal, they found themselves reflecting on the people who had crossed their path over the years. Faces came and went like passing seasons. Some memories made them smile. Others simply drifted away without leaving much behind. But then your presence entered their thoughts again, not loudly, not dramatically, but with a calmness that immediately felt different. They didn't have to force the memory. It simply appeared, as though it had always been waiting patiently for that exact moment. That quiet realization surprised them. They noticed something they had never paid attention to before. Every time they pictured joy, your presence naturally fit into the scene. Every time they imagined peace, your name seemed to belong there too. And every time they imagined growing older with someone who truly understood them, their heart no longer searched in different directions. It gently rested in the same place. That was the moment they stopped chasing certainty. Instead, they began trusting consistency. Because hearts rarely return to the same place over and over again without a reason. Don't skip, because this next realization carries the deepest meaning so far. Your soulmate finally understood that forever isn't created by extraordinary promises. It is created by ordinary faithfulness to the little things that most people overlook. A kind word after a difficult day. A patient conversation when emotions are high. A willingness to listen before trying to be understood. A quiet smile that says, "I'm still here." These simple moments may never become headlines in anyone's story, yet they are the very threads that hold lasting love together. As they reflected on this, something inside them became wonderfully clear. They no longer wanted a connection that only felt beautiful when everything was easy. They wanted a love that could remain gentle when life became busy, patient when answers took time, and hopeful when tomorrow remained uncertain. That hope slowly became the condition hidden inside their heart. Not because they expected perfection, but because they had learned that real love grows strongest when two people choose understanding again and again. Imagine two trees standing side by side through changing seasons. One year brings warm sunshine. Another brings heavy rain. Another brings strong winds. Neither tree controls the weather, yet both continue reaching toward the light. Over time, their roots grow deeper because they remain where they were planted. Your soulmate realized that relationships grow in much the same way. The seasons will always change, but hearts that keep choosing patience become stronger with every season they share. Something important is waiting for you, because the condition is no longer hidden behind mystery. It is beginning to reveal its true shape. Your soulmate wants a future where neither heart has to pretend. A future where honesty feels safe. A future where silence never replaces kindness. A future where both of you can celebrate victories together and carry disappointments together without losing sight of one another. That is the forever they have quietly been hoping for. Yet there is one final piece they have carried silently. It is not a request. It is not a demand. It is a hope they have never fully spoken. They hope that if life places unexpected turns in your path, neither of you will let temporary misunderstandings become permanent distances. They hope that when uncertainty appears, you will both remember the deeper reason your hearts chose each other in the first place. Because they have come to believe that lasting love is not about never facing difficult moments, it is about never forgetting the value of the person walking beside you through them. As this understanding settled into their heart, an unexpected sense of peace followed. The questions that once kept them restless slowly faded away. They no longer wondered whether forever was possible. They simply wondered whether two hearts could continue making the same quiet choice every new day, to meet each other with grace, with honesty, and with gratitude. And perhaps that is the greatest surprise of all. The one condition your soulmate carries has never been about asking you to become someone different. It has always been an invitation to build something together that neither heart could build alone. But even now, one beautiful truth remains unspoken. It is the truth that explains why your soulmate believes this connection feels different from every chapter that came before. And when that final realization finally rises into the light, the meaning of forever will become clearer than ever before. There comes a point in every meaningful story when the heart quietly stops looking outward and begins listening inward. That moment rarely arrives with applause. It doesn't announce itself with certainty. It simply settles over the soul like the evening sky, calm and unmistakable. Your soulmate has reached that place. Without even realizing when it happened, they stopped wondering whether this connection was special and started wondering how they could honor it for years to come. Stay with this moment, because something gentle, yet deeply meaningful, is about to unfold. For a while, they believed that lasting love depended on finding the perfect timing, the perfect circumstances, or the perfect version of themselves. But life kept teaching them a quieter lesson. Perfection was never the foundation. Presence was. Showing up with sincerity. Listening with patience. Choosing kindness when it would be easier to remain silent. Little by little, they understood that forever is not protected by flawless days. It is protected by faithful hearts. That realization became impossible to ignore. Whenever they imagined walking through future seasons, they no longer pictured dramatic moments first. They pictured ordinary mornings filled with quiet conversations. They imagined celebrating simple victories together. They imagined encouraging one another through uncertain days without allowing hope to disappear. Those images were surprisingly ordinary, yet they carried extraordinary peace. Don't skip, because the next thought may explain something your own heart has sensed but never fully put into words. Your soulmate has discovered that the strongest relationships are not built by people who never disagree. They are built by people who remember that understanding matters more than winning. They began asking themselves a different kind of question. What if love isn't about always having the right words? What if love is about always having the willingness to understand? That question stayed with them. It followed them through quiet afternoons. It returned during peaceful evenings. It even appeared during moments when they weren't thinking about relationships at all. And every single time, the answer remained beautifully consistent. Understanding creates trust. Trust creates peace. And peace gives love room to grow. That is why the condition resting inside their heart became even clearer. They hope that if your lives continue together, both of you will always protect the space where honesty can breathe. A place where feelings never have to hide behind pride. A place where mistakes become opportunities to grow instead of reasons to walk away. A place where both hearts remember they are on the same side, even when life feels complicated. Something important is waiting for you, because there is another layer your soulmate has only recently begun to recognize. They realize that love is not measured by how loudly someone speaks about forever. It is measured by how faithfully they care for today's small moments. A thoughtful word. A patient pause. A genuine smile. A quiet reminder that says, "I'm grateful you're here." Those moments seem almost invisible while they are happening, yet years later they become the memories that matter most. As your soulmate reflected on this, they noticed something remarkable. Whenever they imagined giving that kind of steady love, your face naturally appeared in their heart again. Not because they forced it. Not because they expected it. But because peace has a way of returning to what feels true. And perhaps that is why they no longer feel the need to chase endless certainty. They have begun trusting what consistently brings calm into their heart instead of what simply creates excitement for a moment. Stay until the end, because one final discovery is beginning to reveal itself. There is a quiet promise your soulmate has never spoken aloud. They hope that years from now, if life changes in unexpected ways, both of you will still remember how this journey truly began, not with perfection, but with sincerity. Not with impossible expectations, but with two hearts willing to learn, forgive, encourage, and keep growing together. That hope has become more valuable to them than any grand declaration. Because they now believe that forever is not one decision made once. Forever is a beautiful decision quietly renewed again and again. And as peaceful as that realization feels, there is still one hidden truth waiting just beyond it. It is the reason this connection continues to feel different every time they reflect on it. The moment that truth finally comes into view, everything they have been carrying in silence will fit together like the final piece of a story that has been unfolding all along. Sometimes the greatest turning points arrive so gently that they almost escape notice. No dramatic announcement. No perfect timing. Just one quiet realization that changes the way everything else is seen. Your soulmate recently experienced a moment exactly like that. It lasted only a few seconds, yet those few seconds remained in their heart long after the moment itself had passed. Stay with this story, because the next truth is not loud, but it may be the one that matters most. They found themselves asking a question they had never asked before. If one day we look back on this journey together, what will I hope we protected the most? At first, many answers came to mind. Happy memories. Shared dreams. Meaningful conversations. But none of them stayed. Then another answer quietly appeared. I hope we protected each other's peace. Those words settled into their heart with surprising clarity. They realized that lasting love is not only about creating beautiful memories. It is also about becoming a place where another heart feels understood without needing to explain every feeling, where silence can feel comfortable instead of uncertain, and where kindness remains even when life becomes busy. Don't skip, because this realization gently reveals why the one condition has become so precious. Your soulmate has never been searching for a perfect story. They have been searching for a peaceful one. A story where both hearts continue choosing respect over pride. A story where gratitude becomes a daily habit instead of an occasional thought. A story where every new season brings deeper understanding instead of greater distance. That is the future they quietly carry within them. And the condition they hold is simply this. Let us never stop choosing the qualities that brought our hearts together in the first place. Not because anyone is expected to be flawless. Not because every day will feel easy. But because genuine love grows strongest when two people continue returning to patience, honesty, forgiveness, and appreciation even after the excitement of new beginnings has become the comfort of everyday life. Something important is waiting for you. Because your soulmate has also discovered something unexpected about themselves. They once believed that forever depended on finding every answer before taking the next step. Now they understand something much gentler. Forever is built by people who are willing to keep learning together. Learning how to listen more carefully. Learning how to celebrate each other's victories. Learning how to encourage each other during uncertain seasons. Learning that every shared day is another opportunity to strengthen what already exists. That understanding brought an incredible sense of calm into their heart. The fear of needing everything to be perfect slowly disappeared. In its place came quiet confidence. Not confidence that every challenge would vanish, but confidence that two caring hearts could always find their way back to one another through honesty and grace. As these thoughts settled within them, they realized that the future they truly desired had never been about extraordinary moments alone. It was about ordinary faithfulness. Being present. Being kind. Being willing to understand before making assumptions. Being thankful for the person beside them instead of taking that presence for granted. Those simple choices, repeated over time, began to look far more beautiful than any grand promise ever could. Stay till the end, because one final layer of this story has not yet been revealed. There is something your soulmate has never fully expressed, even within their own quiet reflections. Deep inside, they believe that every meaningful connection reaches a moment where both hearts are invited to make the same gentle decision. Not a decision driven by excitement. Not a decision driven by fear. But a peaceful decision to keep nurturing what is good, protecting what is true, and appreciating what has been entrusted to them. That is the invitation they hope one day both of you will quietly accept together. And when that shared choice is finally made, the words, "Stay forever," will no longer sound like a distant dream. They will simply describe the beautiful way two hearts continue walking forward, one thoughtful step, one patient conversation, and one faithful day at a time. Yet even now, one final chapter remains unopened. It holds the quiet realization that explains why your soulmate no longer sees forever as a destination waiting somewhere ahead. They have begun to see it as something that starts with one gentle choice, made today. And that choice is closer than either of you may have ever imagined.